Good morning, everyone. I'm joined here by Coach Shannon Welker. He'll start with an opening statement and we'll take questions for the next 15 minutes. If you have a question, please raise your hand with the reaction in the chat and we'll get it over to you. Coach, go ahead.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks. Good to see many of you again this season. We're off to a pretty exciting start with just training wise, it's going great, and obviously with the addition of Helen, that's pretty exciting too. I mean, we've known obviously for a little while here, but it just obviously get announced. But yeah, I think we got a great opportunity to do something pretty special this year, and we're excited to have you guys join us to follow it.
Kyle, go ahead.
Coach, I'm just curious, what was your reaction when you found out that Helen returning was a possibility and then when it became a reality?
Yeah, well, I've been working on this for a while, quite honestly. So when Helen graduated and she had a couple of years of eligibility remaining, I made her promise to a couple of I said, look, if you decide to come back, I said you have to come here. And she goes, I will, but I'm not. And I said, okay. I go, fair enough. I go, so anyways, she was in this summer, and every once in a while I would text her and I'd be like, hey, you want to come back? And she'd be like, she'd just send me a smiley emoji and just laugh. And so this summer she was in for a teammate's wedding, and she came into the gym and she just hopped up on the beam and did like her old beam routine. And I'm like, man, that looks good still. And so I said, Helen, I said, she had some prereqs that she still needed to apply to grad school, which she's looking to do not this academic year, but the following. And I said, why don't you let us take care of your schooling right there? And so she laughed a little bit. And then at the end of that practice, our team was in there training over the summer. She goes, are you serious about the classes? And I felt like at that point I might had her. So anyways, I put a couple of her ex teammates on a little bit of prompting her into. I said, "Hey, Jossie, make sure I go," because she was staying with Jossie over the summer, and I said, "Talk Helen into coming back." And so, sure as heck, about the next day, she came back and she goes, "All right." She goes, "I think I'll do it." And I said, "All right, awesome." So that was like sometime in July or June, I forget. And so yeah, so then it was just a matter of kind of working through some compliance and some other things, and just getting her academic stuff squared away and that. So yeah, but anyways, long story short, we were really excited about it. I'm actually surprised our team was able to stay quiet about it for as long as they did. So, but she brings a great, obviously, beam routine, and I think we're just going to stay on beam because that's probably another question some of you guys might have. Bars may be an option, but we'll just kind of have to see how things go. I think we don't want to get greedy here. So, but we're excited to have Helen back, and it should be an addition to an already great team.
Next, we'll go over to Alex.
Hey Shannon, I got two quick ones for you on Helen. Do you know where you were or how you found out she was coming back? Did she hit you with like the Michael Jordan two-word press release, or was it a phone call?
I'm sorry, Alex. I didn't quite understand that question. Will you ask that
Yeah, how did
again?
she deliver the news to you that she was returning formally then? Was it you talked about like
Oh,
the build-up and whatnot? Yeah, but how did she tell you personally?
yeah, I mean, it actually was in whatever that late June, early July, I think we went out for lunch like the next day after the wedding, and she goes, all right, she's super casual. I don't know if you ever met Kellen, like she's just super casual, like she doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And so she said, okay, I'm gonna do it, Shannon. I said, all right, let's do it, Helen. And so it was really, it wasn't as magical as I think everybody would like to think. I mean, I was excited about it, don't get me wrong, but I think she was excited. I know she was excited about it too. Um, and um, and I think actually over the summer when she dropped in and watched a practice, I have to think that she knows how much talent that we already had on our team and knows what a great opportunity we have as Mizzou gymnastics. And I think she really had a desire to not be finished with gymnastics and felt like she had more. But I think she also was inspired by like, hey, this is a really good team, so this would make it an even better experience.
Then just follow up, where did you guys get lunch?
What's I'm not sure. I don't want to promote anybody, any give any free advertising out for any lunches here. So, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure. Yeah. So,
thank you.
yep, you're welcome.
Other questions for Coach Welker? Oh, John, go ahead, and we'll go to Kyle right after.
Yeah, Shannon, just quick on like Helen's leadership coming back to the team and what does that provide for a very talented team looking into the season?
Yeah, well, I think to me, like when we have, and I'll kind of get to the original question there, but I think when we've got alums that they want, they want to come back, like I think this is a really cool story. And I think it speaks not only highly of Helen, but I think it speaks highly of the culture that we have here at Mizzou Gymnastics. I mean, she's not coming back after a year off, because she didn't like it. I mean, she loves it and she loves University of Missouri gymnastics and University of Missouri. And I think that's awesome that she wants to come back. So I think that speaks highly of the culture that we have here and the teammates that we have. Yeah, and I definitely think, look, we have a multi-time All-American, multi-SEC member. Anytime you can bring somebody like that into your culture or back into the fold on your team, that definitely gives confidence to other people around them, when they have people like that want to be a part of what you're doing. And so I think that speaks volumes right there. And certainly, Helen, again, super, she's just the same all the time. And I think that's really what makes her a great competitor, and what makes her, a great teammate too, because she never gets too high, never gets too low, on that end. And so, yeah, we're excited to have her. And, and selfishly for me, I recruited her in the first place. So I'm just excited I get to spend another year or half a year with her, because she'll be coming in mid-year. She'll be coming in December to join us right there. But currently she's training at her club gym, in Chicago. So
We'll go over to Kyle from KMIZ and then over to Nate Salesman.
Coach, just big picture, looking at your group right now, what really excites you about this group and the potential that they have?
yeah, we've worked hard. I think I think College Gym News came out with like a little snippet of, teams that could surprise you this year, right? And Missouri was number one in that list. And I think that's great. We got that recognition. But the next day we were actually talking as a team, and I said, I go, listen, I go, that was cool, right? And everybody was like, yeah, that was cool. And I said, I go, but the thing is, we built this team to do exactly what people are saying they're going to be surprised about. I go, we're not going to be surprised, quite honestly, because we think that, number one, those are our goals, right? Number two, we fully feel we are capable of those. So the only body that's going to be surprised, hopefully, are the people that wrote that article. So, on there, but, so yeah, look, we've been able to have, higher and higher, aspirations each year. I try to be very realistic about what we can do, and we always want to be a little bit above what we think we can do, because we got to push the envelope a little bit. I think I hate setting goals that are ridiculous, right? Like some things that were, you will fail at times, but I don't want to go into it and set goals that, like, there's no way we're going to do that, right? So, but I do think it is reasonable for us to set goals like, listen, we want to be in the top half of the SEC, right? We feel like we can be in there, in that mix, right? We're shooting for, that evening session at SEC championships. We're shooting to go to Dallas. I mean, I think, people definitely believe it, and they believe it because we know we've got the talent to do it, and we've built a really special team. Helen is obviously a great addition to that, but man, we had a great transfer class. We had a top 10 freshman recruiting class. Our current sophomore class is much better, from freshman year, and so we're excited about it. I think there is no reason we cannot be competitive with, pretty much any team in the country on any given night, if we're prepared well.
We'll go over to Nate, then to Alex, and cap off with Karen.
Yeah, you guys look at your beam lineup from last year, you're losing a lot of people graduating.
but now you're getting Helen back and Addie Lawrence back from injury. So how are you feeling about that lineup going into this year?
Yeah, well, look, we knew we had, we just had a little bit of some depth issues there from the year before, and a little bit of consistency, and that wasn't a great combination last year in that event. We did very well. We were like I think 13th to 12th or higher on every other event in the country, and so that was really good. We just had a little bit, Beam was a little bit of that, a little bit of inconsistency there for a number of reasons. So we knew going into the off season that we had to address that area, and now the transfer portal allows you to do that in a very quick fashion, if you can find the right people, with the right skill set right there. And so we have actually our freshman class is really good on beam, but I also know this is that it can take a year at times, to kind of acclimate and do some of those things. Now, I do anticipate we'll have some freshmen that are competitive to make lineups on every event, much less beam on there. But yeah, look, if you look at Lauren McPherson, I mean, she has been very solid on beam. That is what I would say her best event. Amy Weir, I know she doesn't have a lot of competitive history, but she's good. Like she was like the next person up at Oklahoma who has a pretty good beam lineup, right? And so, we got her. We got Addie Lawrence back, as you mentioned, who was a stud for us freshman year, right? So we're excited to have her back. Obviously, we got Helen coming in. So there's a lot of. I actually think beam will be our most improved event this year. Now we had some room to improve, so on there, but it definitely will be one of our most improved events, and it'll be definitely competitive with all the other events there, and I think it'll actually be a strength of ours this year.
Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, two quick follow-ups, Shannon. Forgive me if this
Yes.
is a stupid question. You said she's
Nope.
coming in December. Is that a result of you said like the paperwork and the NCAA stuff, just when she announced, she was coming back and the process it takes for that to happen?
Yeah, it just took us a little time to kind of get our ducks in a row with just some compliance stuff, some academic stuff, and and I think we might have been able to get it done, but it would have been a rush process, and I felt like Helen and I discussed it, and we really felt like, hey, look. Probably the best training plan here is I wanted to make sure she was in a good training environment more than anything. Sure, we'd love her with us, but we all will also she had some commitments in the works as well, and prior to this making this decision, so she's in a great environment. I know her club coach up in Chicago. We've had a great relationship with them, and she's helping her get ready to go, and we felt like this was just a better track for her, just not only gymnastics wise, but just also just life wise too in there. And so she's looking great. We'll zoom her in for some she'll show some routines via Zoom sometimes or FaceTime, and she is allowed via compliance to train as a former student athlete. She can train with our team twice a month, 2 days a month. So she's been coming in. She's been here twice so far, and she'll train with our team a little bit. And she should be back. I think November 16th. We've got another open. We have one tomorrow, an open intra squad. It's kind of a practice intra squad, but we have another one. I believe it's November. Let me grab my calendar here. I got an old school paper one.
I do too, respect.
Yes, there you go. I can write on November 16th. I think that's our next main one. And she'll be here that weekend. So she'll be so if anybody wants to see her in person, they can come to the Open Intra Squad on November 16th. And then she'll join us as soon as the semester is over, full time. So I think that's like December 14th, roughly, somewhere right around there. She'll be joining our team full time, and she'll be at our Black and Gold exhibition, which will be December 18th. I think our full schedule is coming out real soon. We just got our times from the SEC yesterday, so that should be released pretty soon here. But Black and Gold is Wednesday, December 18th. It's actually we're doing it with Columbia Public Schools, so it'll be so bring your lunch. It'll be 11:30 to like 1:30. Come on by, and you can see Helen over at Hearns. So.
I was gonna say you just answered most of my second question was just
Yeah.
with her training in Chicago, what are you able to like do in terms of are you able to give her the workout, or is it just since you know her club coach so well, like you're just kind of trusting her if she knows you and what you look for and all that stuff?
Yeah, we just communicate with Helen on like, hey, where's our team at this point? Like, what are we doing in practices? And then, we usually like once a week or once every other week, we'll kind of FaceTime Helen in, and she'll show a routine or show her skills, and that's not only good so we can just kind of assess where she's at, but it's also good for just I think our team watches it, so that's good for them too. A little bit of camaraderie and just some culture right there, and it was funny, Helen. We zoomed her in or FaceTimed her in sometime, I want to say in like early October or and she was really nervous on the FaceTime. But then she shows up 2 weeks later and does this beautiful beam routine. She goes, I was more nervous on the FaceTime routine than I was in person. So that was really cool. So yeah, we're definitely communicating with her, in regards to where we're at training plan and helping her move her stuff along. Certainly her training one event makes it a little bit easier. On that end, but we're also working with her on, kind of what we're doing conditioning wise and just some of those things too. So she's on track with some of that stuff. So when she comes in, we're not kind of starting from square one. So, but she's so talented. She probably could hop up there a week off and do a pretty nice beam routine. So, but yes, we're going to make sure that happens. And I think the biggest hurdle we want to make sure we cover is just the team unity piece and the team culture piece, and making sure that Helen feels like she's part of this build right now, and making sure that the girls that are here feel like they're all part of it, in that piece.
Awesome. Thank
We'll
you.
finish off with
Yep.
Karen over here on we'll finish off with Karen and we'll move on to Helen.
Okay. Hi, Karen.
Karen, we still got you muted there.
Oh, okay, here I am. My question is actually not about Helen. I just wondered what's impressed you so much about the freshmen so far and all these new transfers that you have, what you've seen out of them.
Yeah, definitely. We obviously had a longer building kind of selection process with our freshmen. We've had them kind of verbally committed or signed for a while, and so we've had a little more of an opportunity to get to know them and kind of build them and build them into our culture and things like that. With the transfers, we're very, I think we've become very selective about the people that we're bringing into our team. Yeah, definitely. Listen, we got to have the talent for sure, but there's a lot of people out there with talent, so we definitely make sure that it's the right type of person that's coming in and will fit in. But we also know with so many new people, I mean, goodness, we probably have almost half our team is new, right? Between freshmen and transfers, we're probably just under 50% with new people. We immediately just really worked on the cultural piece and really got after that, and have been very purposeful and mindful of just some frequent conversations and things like that, because I think the sooner we can get everybody, make sure they're on board and feeling comfortable, and and that piece of it, and understand the mission, the better off we're going to be. And we feel like that's really been a difference in how we've been able to be competitive, maybe with teams that maybe on paper have a little more talent, right? And so we can out team them. But yeah, as far as I'm impressed with our transfers. Like, they're good. Like, those young ladies are good. Like, and we have to remember they're not freshmen. Like, they've been successful. Like, we just got to figure out how they operate a little bit, and what's the best way to kind of communicate with them and get the most out of them, and kind of meet them in the middle a little bit. Freshmen, you can usually get them to kind of come 90% and you come 10%. Transfers, I feel like we got to get them to come about 60% and we'll come 40%. So we meet them a little more in the middle there, on that end. So, but I'm excited about our transfers. I mean, I think they're going to jump immediately into lineups. They have less of that proving to do because they've been doing it right at this level, or at least at the collegiate Division I level. Our newcomers, our freshmen, there's a little bit of a difference there. Now, I think they're going to get there. And many of them will be there, but it'll be a lot harder this year, I think, than it has been in the past, which is not a bad thing. I think in the past, our freshmen have gotten right into lineups right away, and maybe a little quicker than I wanted, quite honestly, because we just didn't have the depth. But now we've got the quality depth, and we can take our time and make sure we develop them, because we will need that freshman class not only this year, but I think we're going to really need them next year, down the road. And if we can take our time and make sure we don't have to rush them, I think that'll pay big dividends in the future too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.